Would you like to learn how to interpret the Ten of Pentacles when it shows up in a reading? Stay tuned for 3 real-world examples. Hi everybody, I'm Sue Ellen Clayton. Welcome to my channel where we're learning how to read tarot one card at a time. In this video, we're diving deep into the Ten of Pentacles tarot card. I'll be showing you how I interpreted this card in 3 different readings so that you can more confidently interpret it when reading for yourself or for others. I will be using the Radiant Rider-Waite Tarot, and there is a link below. I feel like the Ten of Pentacles embodies the kind of life that most of us want. If you're the grandfather figure, the castle and ornate robe indicates that you're well off and not relying on Social Security for your income. You're also surrounded by 2 generations of your family and, as a bonus, 2 dogs that are at your feet. If you're the young couple, you seem to be in love by the way you're dancing. The castle denotes security and wealth. And you're living with a parent and also your child. The child, who is hiding behind the mother, is surrounded by loved ones and able to enjoy a comfortable life in a beautiful home. So all is good. When the Ten of Pentacles shows up in a reading, it can represent taking good care of your financial resources, your property, and your health. You're using your money to provide happiness and security. The card can also represent taking care of a family member or honoring your ancestors. More practically, the Ten of Pentacles can represent an inheritance or buying, selling, or building a property. When reading tarot, context is important, so the meaning can vary depending on where it shows up in a reading. If you want to take an in-depth look at the card's symbolism and history, which I highly recommend, please check out my video about the Ten of Pentacles in the link below. In this video, we'll be looking at 3 readings that contain the Ten of Pentacles. The first reading looks at where a woman's career will be in 5 years. The second reading tries to figure out why a woman's ex randomly started to text her. And the final reading looks at why a woman's boyfriend stopped talking to her. The first reading was requested by someone who I called Helen. Her question was, what will my career be like in 5 years? You can view the entire reading at the link below. Card number 1, the Six of Pentacles, looked at the challenges that Helen will face in her career. Card number 2, the Star, looked at the opportunities that Helen will face in her career. And card number 3, the Ten of Pentacles, looked at the outcome of her career in 5 years. The Six of Pentacles tells us that Helen's first challenge is that she'll have to make difficult decisions about how to allocate limited resources. This might be money, as shown by the coins she's handing out in this card, or it might relate to trying to manage her energy in a stressful work environment. The other challenges are demonstrated by the fact that she's standing on a stage. This could mean that she suffers from imposter syndrome and is trying to act like she knows more than she does. Or it could mean that her work is keeping her separated from the rest of her life, so she doesn't have any energy left over for family, friends, or self-care. Card number 2, the Star, looks at the opportunities that Helen will face in her career. The Star is a very positive card that represents hope, strength, and being able to bring your dreams into reality. In terms of her career, Helen has the opportunity to be a star. And this is for 2 reasons. First of all, Helen has worked hard to seize the opportunities that she's been presented with. We can see her pouring jugs of water. Water jugs are very heavy, and this is not easy to do. She's also doing it at night, so I believe that she's put in a lot of extra hours beyond the traditional 9 to 5 that many of her colleagues work. The second reason for Helen's success is that she's not hiding her true essence and is unapologetically herself. This is shown by the fact that Helen is naked. Unlike when she was playing dress-up in the Six of Pentacles, she's now free from artificial restrictions such as stages and fancy clothing. Card number 3, the Ten of Pentacles, looked at the outcome of Helen's career in 5 years. This is a wonderfully positive card that is rich with symbolism about having it all, including wealth, security, and a loving family. Pentacles are about health and wealth, and we can see that Helen is taking good care of her body, her relationships, and her property. The Ten of Pentacles is about long-term stability. Helen's career has provided her with enough money to provide happiness and security. She's not just using her wealth to show off, she's focused on creating a stable future. We can see the family within a house, which represents safety, and also inside the walls of a courtyard, which also denotes safety. The Ten of Pentacles can represent honoring your elders and valuing family traditions. We can see a family crest on the wall which honors Helen's ancestors. Helen has also chosen to have her grandfather be part of their lives, which shows strong generational family bonds and respect for the elders in the family. The Ten of Pentacles can also represent creating a legacy, so I'm guessing that Helen's career will allow her to make a positive difference in the world. She might be able to mentor people at work or set up a program to reimburse employees for tuition if they want further education. Or she could instigate other positive changes, such as encouraging her employer to make contributions to charities that will benefit her community. The second reading focuses on a relationship question by a woman who I call Bonnie. Her question was, "Why did my ex randomly text me? He said that he was thinking about me and hopes all is well." For simplicity's sake, I am calling her ex Franklin. Bonnie drew 4 cards. Card number 1, the Ace of Swords, looked at Franklin's unresolved issues in the relationship. Card number 2, the 9 of Wands, looked at Franklin's need for closure. Card number 3, the 9 of Swords, looked at how Franklin was feeling. And card number 4, the 10 of Pentacles, looked at the outcome that Franklin was seeking. The Ace of Swords looked at Franklin's unresolved issues in the relationship. This card shows that Spirit is handing Franklin the gift of clear, logical thought. It is a card about being objective and cutting through the confusion so that Franklin can find out the truth. This makes me think that Franklin doesn't know what he wants. Another meaning of the Ace of Swords is that it's time to cut something out of your life that is no longer serving you. It might be that Franklin believes that the querent still wants to be with him, and he wants to put any thoughts of getting back together to rest. Or it might mean that Franklin needs to cut away some kind of internal belief that is no longer serving him, such as he doesn't deserve her love. The Ace of Swords can also indicate that Franklin wants to fight for what he believes in, which might be rekindling the relationship or having the querent admit how she really feels about him. Card number 2, the 9 of Wands, looks at Franklin's need for closure. This card tells me that Franklin is going through a difficult time and feeling a little beaten up by life. He's looking towards the past. Wands are about action, and I think the wand he's holding represents that he's reaching for something from his past, in this case by texting his ex, to give him comfort. We can see that Franklin is standing on a stage and feeling separate from the world around him. I don't think that Franklin is looking for closure at all. I think he's lonely and unhappy, likely because another relationship just ended, and he's reaching out to Bonnie because she represents comfort to him. Card number 3, the 9 of Swords, looks at how Franklin is feeling. This is the Nightmare card, so I think we can say that Franklin is not doing well. Swords were about thoughts, and it appears that Franklin's out-of-control thoughts are keeping him up at night. He may be experiencing reliving the past or experiencing fear, guilt, anxiety, stress, sadness, depression, or something else. Notice that he is in bed, which is traditionally a place of rest and relaxation, and it is clearly not. Not only does Franklin have 3 swords piercing his body, the carving on the bed shows someone being murdered. I think that, at a minimum, Franklin is lonely and possibly quite depressed. He might also feel guilty about how the relationship ended. He's facing towards the future with his eyes covered. I think he's trying to envision a better future, which brings us to the 10 of Pentacles. Card number 4, the 10 of Pentacles, looks at the outcome that Franklin is seeking. We have quite a contrast here from Franklin's misery in the past 2 cards. The 10 of Pentacles shows a family that has it all. I assume that he's picturing himself as part of a happy couple, dancing together with their child and 2 dogs in a family with strong bonds and generational wealth. So I think that Franklin texted the querent because he's been through some tough times and is fantasizing about a Ten of Pentacles future. But the interesting thing is that I don't think that Franklin's desire has anything to do with the querent. Otherwise, we'd see the Lover's card or maybe the Two of Cups. His desire is more about escaping his current circumstances, which he sees as a nightmare, and seeking a storybook future, potentially with more wealth than he has. In our final reading, we'll talk about the reverse Ten of Pentacles. But first, if you're getting benefit from this video, I hope you'll take a moment to subscribe. It's free for you and you'll get notified when I post videos so that you don't miss anything. It will also help me to grow this channel. Our next reading is called Silent Treatment. Why did my boyfriend suddenly stop talking to me? A woman wants to know why her boyfriend, who I called Carlos, suddenly stopped communicating with her. She said that their contact ended abruptly, but did not give any other details about their relationship. You can view the entire reading at the link below. Card number 1, the Ten of Pentacles reversed, showed what Carlos was thinking. Card number 2, the Hanged Man, showed what Carlos was feeling. And card number 3, Justice reversed, showed what Carlos was doing or not doing. The reverse Ten of Pentacles tells me that Carlos is not comfortable with the querent's family. It made me think of when my husband first met my family. His family gatherings were 6 people, his parents, his maternal grandparents, and he and his sister. My family, on the other hand, was much larger. I had 3 siblings, 2 sets of grandparents, and plenty of aunts, uncles, and cousins. So he was completely overwhelmed when we got together. So that is one possibility. Carlos was overwhelmed by some aspect of the querent's family. It might have been the opulent house, or the dancing, or the dogs that were treated like family. But I think it's more than that. I think the reverse Ten of Pentacles represents some kind of instability in Carlos's life. Pentacles are about health, wealth, and family. Carlos might be experiencing personal issues with his health, or maybe he's having some kind of financial troubles, perhaps with losing his job or being in debt, or he comes from a more modest background and feels inferior to the querent's wealthy family. Another option is that Carlos is experiencing conflicts within his own family, which is very unlike what is shown in the upright card. It might be marital problems between his parents, disagreements between generations, or perhaps he is estranged from his family altogether. This could make him feel uncomfortable. Another possibility is that Carlos doesn't know what is expected of him. The family on the Ten of Pentacles seems to have their roles. The couple is dancing, the grandfather is sitting and watching, and maybe he just doesn't know what to do with himself. The final thing that might have happened is that Carlos decided he didn't want to be part of the querent's world. He saw what would have been expected of him, and he didn't want that much family interaction. Perhaps he'd envision a life with just himself and the querent, maybe living quietly alone in a cabin. All of a sudden it dawned on him that he'd be expected to have kids and a couple of dogs. Also that they'd have little privacy. Rather than dancing alone in their apartment, now they'd be forced to dance in public and have their actions observed by her elderly grandfather. I'm not sure exactly what Carlos was thinking, but I believe he ended the relationship because he realized that he didn't want to be part of the querent's world. Card number 2, the Hanged Man, shows what Carlos was feeling. This is a card about gaining clarity through pausing, surrendering, and seeing the world from a different perspective. I think that, following a visit to the querent's family, Carlos paused and reflected on what his life would be like if he stayed in that relationship. And I think that he felt trapped. That's certainly how I'd feel if I was strung out from a tree by one foot with my arms tied behind my back. And he decided that he was going to turn his life around. The Hanged Man can also represent sacrifice for the greater good. Carlos recognized that, although he loved the querent, leaving her was the best for both of them. Of course, it would have been nice if he'd actually told her that. Card number 3, Justice reversed, showed what Carlos is doing or not doing. In the upright position, justice is about honesty, truth, and accountability. In the reverse position, it tells us that Carlos is being dishonest, deceitful, and not taking accountability for his actions. This card can also symbolize owing someone an apology, which I definitely think Carlos does to the querent. This card tells me that Carlos is not acting in a fair or honorable manner by refusing to contact the querent and share his feelings. I hope that seeing the Ten of Pentacles in these readings will help you interpret it when you're conducting a reading of your own. Please leave a comment if you'd like to share your comments or experience. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.